Okay, thanks, Ben. Hello. Hello, everyone. I had started without you. Sorry. I'll do the whole spiel again. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the May edition of Fiddle Fridays with special guest Ben Sollee. This is a really exciting one for me. I've met Ben just once at it might have been a music video release party, or it might have been an art show. It was something in Nashville where I met him. But we've never really gotten to like talk about cello stuff. So I'm looking forward to that today. Yeah, and I'm gonna start out by playing a couple songs that I've written for my band Oliver the Crow. I don't think I've ever really played them, maybe on like one or two live streams over the pandemic, but not any time like on a very public thing that will like be preserved on the internet. So it's gonna be great. This one's called Doing My Best. I didn't mean what I said. There's a meanness in me, and it paints its words in red. I wanna be all you need, but sometimes I wonder if I'm broken and complete. I'm doing my best, darling, doing my best. I'm doing my best. You deserve better than my best. I didn't see you coming down from the heavens up above. You were an angel and you let me wear your crown, but still I found reason to tear your perfect wings and throw them to the ground. I'm doing my best, darling, doing my best. I'm doing my best. You deserve better than my best. And so I promise with all my heart to keep this fire burning and to shield you from the spark. There will be harder days, for better and for worse, days it costs and days it pays. I'll do my best, darling, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. I'll give you better than my best. I'll do my best, darling, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. I'll give you better than my best. Great. I'm just gonna check to make sure it's all working. Oh, my mother-in-law says I look beautiful. Thank you, Teresa. Yes, I put on makeup. It's an exciting day. I got one more to share with you before we bring Ben on. Gotta get it done quick. Today's my father's birthday, and coincidentally, he is mentioned in this song. So if you happen to be watching, Daddy, happy birthday. Sorry it's not Friends in Low Places. When we were kids, we did our playing down on Madison Street. We'd bike to our friends' houses every day, making forts and digging trenches after summer rain, to the songs of mourning doves out in the heat. When we got bored, our mom and dad would drive us to the shore. From the start of winter captain like a king upon his throne. One day that boat was on the trailer of some other man, and then I had my very first car. I find Dad sitting by the bay with a dollar store cigar, letting it float away like ashes in the sand. I left home, but I'm still there, in the sand, in the waves, in the salty air. I left home, but I'm still there, in the sand, in the waves, in the salty air. Oh, it's been a while since the singing has happened. Quarantine. Okay, here it is. Okay, it's happening. Okay. That's the end of my portion. Thank you for coming. Let's welcome my special guest, Mr. Ben Sollee. Let me tell you a little about him. Over the last 2 decades, Kentuckian Ben Sollee has distinguished himself as a multi-faceted creative, blurring the lines between music, tech, and experiential design. As a cellist, songwriter, and storyteller, he has toured the globe, sometimes by bicycle, performing his original music. He has a very long and extensive bio. We're going to talk about all the stuff he does, but yeah, he makes music for everything: video games, movies, his own music. I kind of started listening to him a lot on my master's degree. He had just put out an album where he just went into a hut in the woods and recorded just solo cello with all these beautiful nature sounds, and that just blew my mind because I was in like snooty classical school, and then there was this cellist who was doing this just very like simple, beautiful thing. So anyway, that's enough about me talking about Ben. Let's just let him in. There, I need headphones. Okay, here I come. I remember how it works. Hi.
Hi.
Here you are.
It's great to hear you. That was great. I love that beginning.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I haven't done songs in a while. I feel like I really got into instrumental stuff over the pandemic and went away from songs, but maybe I will get back into them now.
Yeah, it's like there was a little bit of a like creative dip. It was hard to know what to write about or what to.
Yeah.
You know, there was lots of inspirational stories all over the place, but the feeling was kind of like a little overwhelming to actually be creative in.
100%. Yeah. And everyone started out the pandemic being like, Shakespeare wrote King Lear during the plague, so you can write, it's great. And then we were all really pumped, kind of, and all this time, and then that was just kind of paralyzing in a way, I think, for so many people. And then we all learned that it's okay if we didn't do anything over the pandemic, because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there was a lot going on for sure, but there was definitely some pressure. Like, hey, if you're going to write your magnum opus, now's the time to do it. And it's like, I don't know if now's the time to do it.
The next pandemic in another 100 years.
Right? maybe so. Do
you want to start out by playing something and then we'll dive in to more talking?
Sure, for sure. Well, I'm super happy to be here on Fiddle Fridays, and it's been a while since I've done much fiddling, but here's sort of a fiddly-ish song. It's called Whole Lot to Give. Just pace yourself. Feel the friction in your mind. Oh, consider this opportunity to move against the tides. Oh, such thoughtful maps of an ever-changing course, drawing lines where they never were, just to see if they might be long, whoa, but you got a whole lot to give. Whoa, you got a whole lot to give. Oh, you got a whole lot to give. Oh, yes, you got a whole lot to give. Just quit chasing your tail. You're tracking mud all over the place. Lord, don't you remember the voice you used when you spoke of precious things? Whoa, but you got a whole lot to give. Yes, you got a whole lot to give. Oh, you got a whole lot to give. Oh, yes, you got a whole lot to give. Yeah, 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 yeah. Dig-a-do, 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 Yay!
Yay! Ben, it's possible that in your sound check you weren't given it as much as you are in the performance. Can you boop the gain down just a couple more notches?
Boop, boop, gain down. Gain booped down.
Turn my volume up, and then I think that probably will do it. But that sounded great.
Cool.
Ah, so fun. I've never
Yeah.
seen you perform live.
Oh, well,
Oh, this
so
is like technically live.
well, it sounds like the event that we met at was super memorable. So
Well, you weren't playing at that.
we were just hanging out.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I would have remembered if you were.
Trying to remember that one.
It was the Michael Weintraub.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. Like the instrument head shoot?
Yeah, it was something like that. Like maybe it was like, were you in town for like Sarah Clanton's like music video thing? I don't know. Maybe
No,
not.
but a big fan of Sarah. Love
Yeah,
Sarah.
yeah. That's how we met. She was like Sarah Ben or Kaitlyn Ben, and I was like, yes.
Oh, cool. Nice.
It's fine. This is the real meeting, though.
This is the real one. This is the real virtual meeting.
Yes, BFFs forever after this. Yeah, I'm so grateful for you being on the show. It's still a little baby show. Like this is like the 5th for real one, so it grows a little every time. And
Yeah.
I wanted to be a resource for cellists who want to do the non-classical thing, basically just because I didn't really understand that this was even a possibility, like something I could do until maybe college, like way later, and I wish that I had found out about it.
Yeah.
Because my life might have been a little bit different. But you know what? Everything worked out and it's all great. So, but in any case, I just want to tell people about how to do it and what the journey is. Will you tell us about your journey, kind of, on the cello?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I picked up the cello in public schools. Yay, public schools. And I was 9 years old at the time. And it was one of those situations where the teacher came in with a petting zoo of instruments, and she showed us all of them, the violin and viola, which were nice. And then she picked up the cello and she's like, class, this is a cello and this is what a cello sounds like. And she made this sort of like sound. And as a third grader who was into making a lot of bodily noises, I was like, oh, I want to play the cello.
Yeah.
And so I, went home to mom and dad and I asked if I could, play the cello, and they said, sure. And I showed up at school and I was ready to make all the sounds, and mom and dad were, and the teacher was like, all right, we're going to play classical music. Right? Fancy car commercials.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where, so I would go to school and I would study the, classical conventional music. And then I'd come home and I had a very musical family. My dad was a R&B guitar player. My mom sang. And we would sit down and jam, and we'd play, like R&B tunes, like "Stand by Me." Ooh. And we'd all jam along on that, and then back to school. And then back,
Probably.
right, yeah, and then back to hanging out with Dad. Some weekends I would stay with my grandfather, who was like an old-time fiddle player, banjo player in Appalachia. His name was Elvis Henry Cornelius, which is a super boss name.
It's like best name I ever heard.
And he would teach me fiddle tunes like Rusted Gun, And then back to school. So I really had two lives on the cello, this kind of like studied life and then my social life. And really, I started writing songs to try to bridge the gap between those two.
Mm.
And my early songs for me kind of combined that fiddly bluegrass R&B vibe. And then as I wrote more songs and played more music with side musicians, I found more sounds. I toured with a blues artist by the name of Otis Taylor, who's a 6'4", blue-eyed black man. And he would play trance blues, and he would have me do all this, like, and like sing about Black Witch and stuff. And then I started playing music with Abigail Washburn, who's a wonderful old-time round peak banjo style player. And we had like a duo show that we worked up around her Song of the Traveling Daughter record, which turned into a touring show with her boyfriend at the time, but then later husband Bela Fleck, and Casey Dreesen, an amazing rhythmic violin player.
I love that Sparrow Quartet album.
Yeah, so and then from Sparrow Quartet, I kind of launched out doing my own solo thing, and all the while continuing to add new sounds and textures to my cello. Getting more percussive, getting more into the textures that you can create. Just always finding something.
Finding those, I'm like in the pieces that I write, they're all just like folk and contemporary classical in that way, just like harmonics and just like textures and sounds, and I'm here for that.
Yeah, I mean the cello is like the great Swiss Army knife of the orchestra. It's something that composers have always used to solve problems. So for songwriting, if you're going to take one instrument with you as a songwriter, it's a really great one, because you can, whatever situation you're in, you could typically solve the songwriting or compositional problem, right? Because you got all these low, rich, long tones, or you can be short and staccato, and it's really great Swiss Army knife.
Instrument, right?
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to play another song?
Sure, happy to. Let's see, what would be a good one here? So this is one of those kind of early on songs that I wrote kind of midway through college. I was touring at the time with Abigail, and we were playing in Colorado and came across some Brazilian musicians who were jamming, playing choro music, like this Brazilian street music. And I just loved just this kind of bubbly, fun music. And I was also studying Bach's Fourth Suite at the time, which is, the big. And I was kind of plucking around on that because I was trying to teach myself 3-finger style, plucking, and played this intro through these chords. And then I was like, I really like those. I wonder what those would sound like in a Brazilian sort of jam. And this is what came out. It's not impossible for me to cry. It's just the hardest thing I've ever done. And it's a shame, you know, but it's ingrained, you know. Boys don't cry, boys don't cry. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I can't change the way you left. All I wanted was to say goodbye. I was scared, you know, and I was mad, you know, but boys don't cry, boys don't cry. Ooh, whoa, whoa, oh, oh, oh. And I can try and try to steal it like one man pulling a train down the line. It takes time, I know, but who has time, you know? Oh, boys don't cry, boys don't cry. Ooh, oh, 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 whoa, whoa. You can kick and scream, cause a scene. Take your anger out on someone else. Oh, steal the car. Was it? It's steal the car, race the car, but don't you dare, no, don't you dare cry. And I must admit, all jokes aside, I find some men beautiful, some girls handsome, and some children wise. And I hope someday, before I die, I can share the kiss that brings tears, tears to my eyes. And it's a shame, you know, but it's ingrained, you know. Boys don't cry, boys don't cry, boys don't cry, boys don't cry.
Yeah, man. Fingers of fire. That's amazing. That makes me like, I'm just like, I need to practice my little pit stuff more. That was fun. That was great. And I liked the intro with the Bach.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, has any? I love the sound of Bach, like played plucked. I feel like you can really kind of hear all the wonderful harmony. You know, even just. You know, you can just really hear all those wonderful chords. But the bow is really nice too.
Yeah, I think you get tired if you had to pitch the whole thing.
Well, that's why you got all these extra fingers.
That's true. Gotta use this one. Gotta get the pinky in there.
Yeah, I guess I should try to get 4-finger at some point.
No, that sounds hard. That sounds. I don't know if that's the right journey for cellists, but.
Yeah. Well, I used to play with picks long ago.
Right.
But I dropped those out because I just like the kind of fleshy, like upright, bassy sort of sound that you get with it, and you can get that, you know, that kind of drop thumb guitar bass sound. But you can also do the kind of like claw hammer banjo thing, as like kind of what you were doing on your second song there. I just feel like there's a lot of diversity in there.
So inspiring. I'm ready. Can we just stop so I can go practice? Kidding.
No, you've got gigs to get to.
That's so great. So you talked about, you know, like, do you have a song, or I know you do a lot of writing for a lot of different things. You have done documentaries and video games. You said, it says in your bio, you've done a video game score, right?
Yeah, we did like a virtual reality um, music app for iOS and Android called The Vanishing Point.
That's really awesome. So maybe songwriting might be different from like instrumental composing, but do you have like kind of a like for me, like for instance, with these tunes I've been writing, um, I can't like sit down at like a piece of like a Sibelius or a piece of paper and like have ideas come out. Like I have to like play it into Logic and like hear it back and like decide whether I like it or not. And
Right.
have a writing technique that you like to use that, or is it kind of different each time?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I think it's different each time and usually depends on if I'm on a deadline to write something. If I'm not on a strict deadline to create, then often I'll try to chase down muses,
Hmm.
my various muses. Sometimes there are muses that are centered around, words that have come to my mind or that I've heard other people say. Sometimes it's around the sounds of nature. That's often something I'll do is put on field recordings from nature and just kind of jam along with those to get my body doing things that are a musical, but also very musical at the same time. Um, but if I'm on a deadline, then I try to um, use tried and true tools to get myself tricked into creating. And a lot of times that does have to do with that kind of tracing approach, whether it's a really cool drum loop that I found that I want to kind of mimic on the cello, or it's um, some type of field recording that I've made that I thought was really interesting, of some mechanical machine that I want to just like. But usually songs will start with a word or a phrase. You know, there's a song of mine that you threw up on your socials called "Letting Go" that I wrote for a movie called The Killing Season,
Hmm.
and that movie it's roughly like a suspense thriller horror sort of movie, which is not generally the kind of music you'll catch the kind of movie you'll catch me watching,
Right.
but it's it features this kind of elderly Robert De Niro trudging through the woods of Appalachia, and he's kind of doing battle slash being hunted by a Bosnian John Travolta, and but the movie itself, the message of the movie is very much around kind of uh, forgiveness in a way. And so I found myself being asked to write a song for that movie about forgiveness. And I thought about these two male characters and thought about the male characters that had been both mentors and gatekeepers in my life, and thought about just like the tools that were kind of missing for them to be able to deal with trauma and stress and anxiety. And the phrase to describe that, thinking about a country road, came out. It was like it's a long hard road through a rough edged land to the softest part of a man.
Hmm.
And from there I had a guidepost like, okay, I'm going to describe something in contrasts, right?
Right.
And so the next words then became, and it's lined with stones and tangled with regrets that are just too hard to forget. So
Hmm.
like just kind of doing this little bit of an Alice in Wonderland kind of journey, and then it would land on these moments of repose. So you got this like really aggressive, muscly beat, like it's a long, hard road through a rough edge land to the softest part of a man. And it's lined with stones and tangled in regrets that are just too hard to forget. And there's rusty signs overlooked on the way to the heart of a troubled man. And it goes on like that, right? So
But I
that's
also find the fiddle part to be so like haunting and
mhm,
beautiful, which when you're like talking about old Robert, we said Robert De Niro, right?
right.
Old Robert De Niro just walking through the like the mountains. I was like
Yeah.
perfect for that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that more and more people are discovering um, how nature can help them escape a little bit from all these crazy things out there. We're all trying to think about self care, or at minimum how to keep ourselves from drowning out there. And nature's a really good resource. So I think thinking about the mountains and mountain music is really good.
Awesome. Um, I love all that. That's so great. Will you play one another song? I think we have maybe time for like probably two more with a little talk in between. Do you
Okay. Yeah. So let's see what would be a good one. Um, I like. I've continued to try to search down um, different and unique rhythms that I can try to start incorporating in my songwriting, and through that process, discovered wapango music, which is a incredible like dance enriched style of music from the La Huasteca region of Mexico, and it's got this incredible polyrhythm thing that it does where it overlaps accents of threes, which you really only notice if you can hear the stomping of feet. But I tried to it's a very fiddle oriented music, and I tried to embody that in this song, which is called Mechanical Advantage. Yeah, here you go. Hang on. Let me fix this box here. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, I was minding my own, drinking coffee alone, down on the Lower East Side. Yes, it was late in the morning when she caught my eye. She was bobbing and weaving and spinning through the streets in her cut-off jeans, turning heads at the boys and the girls like some movie scene. Yeah, she's got those long legs, thick skis, it's a mechanical advantage. Ooh, long legs, thick skis, it's a mechanical advantage on me. Oh my, on me. Well, traffic slowed down, a clock unwound, and for a moment time was caged. Lord, if everything is relative, this must be the space. She had her red shoes on, tattoos on her arms, pedaling a steel-lugged frame. The wind in her hair, an easy smile on her face. Yeah, she's got those long legs, thick skis, it's a mechanical advantage. Ooh, long legs, oh, thick skis, it's a mechanical advantage on me. Oh my, oh me. But like most things, it couldn't last. Time only stretches so far. She turned the corner at Avenue A without a look or a glance my way. Yes. Oh, 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 oh me, oh my, oh me. Well, I wonder if I'd noticed. I wonder if I'd even cared. Had she been bitten? Had she been sitting on a park bench by herself in the square? Well, maybe beauty is best seen in motion. A noble sky at sunset, a wave crashing in the ocean. Well, but I can't help myself, I can't look away. It's a mechanical advantage. Ooh, long legs, oh, fake skis. It's a mechanical advantage on me. Oh my, oh me.
Whoa, that's wild. How did you keep doing that the whole time? My brain was exploding. I was like with you. I was like, it's happening, and then you
Yeah.
did da 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 da, and it lined up, and I was like, yes, that's all
Yeah,
right.
it's cool. So definitely encourage folks to Google it. Like you can, there's a great documentary called Sam Huasteco Music that really kind of outlines how this music is made, because when you're just listening to the groove, typically there's usually a trio, like a guitarro, the charanga sort of instrument, and then the fiddle. And the guitarro will handle like this, like the triplet where the accent is on the three,
Hmm.
and the quattro will handle where the accent's on the one. So you get this chuck, 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 chuck. One instrument's going da 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 da, and the other one's going checka da checka da checka da checka da. So you get this checka 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 checka.
Oh, so
So
fun.
it's fun. I mean, missing an element of it without the rest of the band, but you still get the idea. It's super fun and floaty.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing that
Yeah.
and introducing me to that so that I can go check it out. We have a few minutes. I want you to can you just say, for those listening who are like total classical nerds and they're like, where do I even begin with doing anything like this? What would be like the first step that you would be like, hey, go maybe try this?
Gosh, I mean, just like, I think it's just like if you want to learn how to cook, right? Like, one of the best things that you can do is develop your taste first.
Hmm.
So sure, you can try recipes and those are wonderful, but until you go, like, you know, eat somewhere, whether it's at a restaurant or actually in the country of its origins place, and really understand what the authentic taste of that is, you're only going to be working from a recipe. So, in that way, I would just see if you can get yourself invited over to people's kitchens, people's musical kitchens, jam with them, and understand that even if you can't contribute uh, with melody because you don't know that fiddle tune melody, or you don't feel comfortable improvising, or you feel like your instrument's not loud enough or it's too loud, right? There are ways that you can contribute, and the lowest common denominator is rhythm.
Hmm. Totally.
So you can always sit down and listen along and quietly find what key range someone's in and just add rhythm. And people will love it, because people love cello and they love rhythm. That's how we feel together.
Totally. I love that. Yeah. People love rhythm and they love cello. So
Yes.
yeah.
Rhythmic cello, amazing.
Amazing. Just so great. Okay. So what do you have? Do you have something coming up that you'd like to tell us about? What is going on in Ben Sollee's world?
Um,
It's okay if there's nothing also.
there's lots of things going on. So some of it's in the kind of film world. I've got a new series of shorts that's coming out on a streaming platform called Water Bear, and they're called Moments of Calm, and they are like little 2-minute snippets of nature recordings from different parts of the United States. So like the Northwest rivers and coasts, desert scenes. And so I scored those, and that was a really kind of dreamy thing to do because they're just so serene. Um, Show wise, I've got an EP coming out soon that was recorded with a wonderful singer songwriter named Scott T. Smith. We're kind of doing like an Everly Brothers meets the Civil Wars kind of vibe.
Okay, I dig.
Yeah, yep. And then kind of a few more like curation projects that I'm doing around here in Kentucky, collaborations with some companies. Later this fall, I'll have a new solo EP coming out, and then
Yes.
at the end of the year, I'll have a holiday series that I'm curating called Happy Holidays,
Nice.
celebrating Appalachia and contemporary artisans.
Well, that's so fun. So much happening.
Yeah, making, doing, trying to contribute to a greater sense of togetherness.
Yes. Togetherness. I love that. Like, being on your site and just reading like what you feel like your music embodies, and I think togetherness is so important, especially after a year where we spent a lot of time apart.
Yeah, well, and especially as we look to address like so many of the challenges that we have socially, environmentally,
Yeah.
um, it's out there, and I would encourage any of the working musicians that are out there listening, uh, including yourself, is like really think about what's your mission, because I think that we have to begin looking at ourselves as social entrepreneurs, right? Sure, there's the art that we make, and that can turn into all sorts of different products, but at the end of the day, when we're out here doing all this hustle, we're trying to make an impact socially.
Yeah.
And how you measure that impact and where you want it to go, what your goal is, all that's wrapped up in your mission. So like really think about what is that mission.
Totally. No, that it's very important, especially I feel like this last year a lot of people have been starting to think more about that.
Mm-hmm.
And like what their what their mission as an artist is going to be, what their voice is going to be, where they're and it's really important to think about. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for making space for me in your show, and I'm so happy to meet everybody watching. And yeah, I'm enjoying watching your adventure on the Instagrams.
thank you. I'm
Yeah,
I'm always tickled when I see that you like something. Like, oh,
yeah. I'll think about that next time I like it. I'll be like, oh, this is gonna tickle.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Um, yeah. I mean, we're a little over, so unless you have like something that's like a minute or 2 minutes long, do you want to play one more song?
No, I think we can wrap it up. We've heard plenty of music, and
Okay.
we gabbed about it. So thanks so much. I appreciate you.
Yes, we'll say goodbye to everyone. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Farewell, everyone.
Have a great month. See you next month. Yay. Okay, ended. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was
Thank
so
you.